It finally happened. In an absolutely electric news day, the world has been rocked to its core. Something that I think we all knew was going to happen eventually, but you're just waiting and waiting, and you're watching the news, and you're waiting and waiting, and you're staying tuned in, you're waiting and waiting. And when is it finally going to happen? And today it did. Aaron Rodgers is actually going to be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. No, he hasn't done it yet, of course. There will be a separate photo shoot for that day, I imagine. But today, that's the news.
And I was wondering, that must be why Twitter's on fire right now. Okay, yeah. It all makes sense.
It makes a lot more sense. Look, that new look Steelers team, I mean, I think with Rodgers there, I think they could win 8-9 games. Only Weird Games here on KC Sports Network. Joshua Brisco and Seth Keysor with you. Should be getting a little Nate Taylor partway through the episode today, but in the meantime, Seth, how's it going? The two of us leading the charge again today. I feel all right about that. I feel like we can make this happen.
Every time you and I do something alone together, privately, just you and me, face to face, it just takes me back to that, wild, wacky, and wet first year in which we were both so young,
so inexperienced.
Indeed, neither of us really were sure what we were doing. I would call a lot of what we were doing during that phase of our lives experimentation.
I would have said the exact same.
And so it's just always good when it's just you and me. I'm ready to see how bad this gets.
I will say, I will say, Seth, I don't disagree with anything you said there, but I really do think our relationship vastly improved when we added Nate to the mix. I think that was a really good move from us. And look, think back to those days. It makes total sense. I was a young radio host. You had barely ever been a radio guest. I mean, there was a lot to figure out. But now here we are, two well-seasoned podcasters who only make excellent jokes in the intro. The rest of the show can't claim that.
Yeah, nobody has a better first 5 minutes than us. I actually said to my new boss, she'd said something positive about how some of the departments have responded to me starting. I've been at the new job for a couple months now.
It's going flex on them.
Yeah, it's going well. And she'd commented that they'd said some nice things, some of the department heads, and I said, "Oh no. Believe me, for privacy purposes, we're going to call my new boss, what's a good fake name?
Cheryl. I don't know her real name, so I hope it's not Cheryl.
No, that would have revealed, I'd have been like,
I could have given her first, middle, and last name.
I told her, that really would have been incredible. I just told her, let me tell you one thing, Cheryl, nobody, and I mean nobody, makes a better first impression than I do. So just know, in about 6 months, those meetings are going to sound real different. Be like, oh, remember? Oh, that is true. Thank you, commenter whose name I can't mention. Bathsheba does probably make a better first impression than I do.
I thought he was giving you a fake name. Oh, my new boss, Bathsheba.
Yeah, both of those things could be true. But no, I'm excited. We've got it's peak off-season time right now, even though OTAs are going on. And did you see Rashee Rice do a football drill? Because I saw Rashee Rice do a football drill.
I saw Rashee Rice. I saw, again, a lot of news of the day that you may think that I already hit all the big ones. I actually, Seth, I missed a big story today that I'm sure you are aware of that I feel like might be controversial. I feel like we should go ahead and crack it open. The Tacos and Bourbon Golf Tournament. We've got a date. We got a time. We have the way for you to sign up. You can go to KCSN.com and you can check out the page that's up there now for all of the details. But the KCSN Foundation is back with our 4th annual Tacos and Bourbon Charity Golf Tournament. This time, it's at a new location. You can join us at Creekmore Golf Course in Raymore, Missouri on Monday, August 18th at 11 a.m. Central. And all of the details about how to sign up, what you do for your 4-person scramble, and all of the great stuff that we'll have out there from our friends at Holiday Distillery. You can check all that out, all the details. Check it out on the KCSN socials. Again, KCSN.com will get you to the Substack where you can see all of it there. But it's been an awesome thing that KCSN's been able to do. now going for the fourth time to raise some money for the KCSN Foundation, all the great stuff that provides, and a chance for you to come hang out at a super fun event. I am certainly planning on being there as I was last year. I'm hoping that this year I don't have to ride in a golf cart with Kent Swanson, because I do value my life. And it got a little spooky out there for a while, but Kent was fit to drive, just not to drive me. And that's the end of that, Seth. But I heard the first half of the joke loading, and there's not going to be any more, I don't think.
No. There's absolutely no joke I could possibly think of regarding a golf cart. Well, one of the problems with doing what I do, the things that I find funniest.
Yeah.
And this is one reason I think we've become as close as we have, is both of us, the worse it gets, the funnier it becomes. And I have a few friends, which I know is shocking, but I have a few friends in the legal community. I've got a few friends in the legal community, one of whom in particular I've done a number of just brutal child protection cases with. And he and I have at times laughed about the fact that if our text messages to each other were ever read by someone who doesn't work in the child protection realm, they would be like, oh, these guys are going to hell for sure.
Yeah, and they'd be right.
Yeah, they might be right.
Yeah. You're going to be shocked, but none of the rest of us will.
I have to let one commenter know, since there's no today.
This is a fabulous question. I was going to ask you the same thing. I'll ask it for you, Seth, so you can answer in turn. From Premier 15, Seth, are you having poached eggs and hash browns during this episode?
So I had no idea that grabbing some biscuits and gravy mid-episode was going to be so controversial. How many of you are not doing Brenner? Like, is Brenner not a thing anymore? Like,
I'm sorry.
People remember Scrubs? Like,
I'm sorry, Seth. I did the Tacos and Bourbon golf tournament and gave all the details for that, but I did not announce that we're both doing today's show live from a Cracker Barrel. I'm at one here in the Kansas City metro area. Seth's at one in Minnesota, and there's farm equipment on the walls. And at some point, somebody's throwing a biscuit at Seth's open mouth.
Every now and then, see, that sounds like a good time.
No, for sure. It sounds great.
That's why Perkins is an American institution, because, Waffle House. I did a radio show from Pega's. I don't know if you've got Pega's where you're at. PEGAH''S. I don't know if it was, I can't remember. It's been a long time. I don't remember all of the copy points. But I actually have done, this was ESPN Kansas City 4 to 6. No rules, just right. I think that's a different chain. But I have actually, now that I've made that joke, I've realized I actually have done a radio show, not just with brunch, but at Brenner. So we're cut from the same cloth here, high carb cloth. The people that don't feel like it is, what's awesome, every now and then at 7 at night, having a giant stack of pancakes slathered with peanut butter with a truckload of maple syrup on them. You know why? Because you're about to go to bed.
Yeah. Put me to sleep.
Yeah. Just hand me this stack of fried cake with all the peanut butter and sugar poured onto it. And then, some scrambled eggs, a little bacon. Yeah. For dinner. If you don't do that, I feel sorry for you if you've never done that. Brenner is one of the greatest. Someone called it Deckfist.
Yeah, I was glad you said that one, because I felt like that could have been just a tricky one for you.
Yeah, you really got to be careful how you enunciate the vowels there. Yeah. You don't want to flip-flop anything there.
I appreciate Nate Dogg saying Seth showing off his pancreas privilege. That's true. You gave me a lot of carbs and a full sugar syrup. The way you're doing it, though, I think you could probably replace your maple syrup with NyQuil. The result will be the same.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And so, no, I actually am not. I'm taking my two oldest sons out for dinner tonight. Well, after the podcast ends, we're celebrating Tucker finishing his first year of college.
Very exciting. Congratulations.
Year one, his electrician's degree. He passed all his classes, just finished his. They make you take CPR as an electrician.
That makes sense.
It does, but that's got to be disconcerting.
For sure.
It's like, hey,
so they didn't make me do that to do radio.
No, and maybe they should. So he's done it. And then Mason, my 17-year-old son, he finished his first year of college as well. He's doing all PSEO classes. So I am going to have a beer cheese pretzel burger. And then the local place, one of the really good spots in town, has melted Gouda pretzel bites.
Yeah.
And they are fantastic. So
I could probably get there by 11 if I just took off right now. You can do a real late dinner. Give me a doggy bag.
You are drastically underestimating how far away. We're a 10-hour drive from you, my friend.
I got a heavy foot.
And Iowa, nobody ever gets speeding tickets in Iowa, fortunately.
I don't know.
That's a running. Sorry, those people who don't travel between Minnesota and Missouri. Man, that was a niche joke.
It was very niche. I assumed it was funny, but
Iowa hands out a lot of speeding tickets, including once Jazz and I were driving down, and like 5 stadies pull over like 10 cars in a row, and they're giving out tickets because they had a plane overhead to give out tickets to people, and I was like, "Good Lord!"
I just feel like there's probably some important, publics. I mean, I guess speeding, I guess, is unsafe. I don't know what the what are they looking for that radar? They're looking for 11 over. What's the cutoff? You think?
I don't know. I was always told 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine.
That's also stuck in my head. But a lot of limericks are wrong. There's a lot of those things are like extremely no longer applicable. But that is also it rhymes. Like yeah. That's probably right. Yeah, Humpty Dumpty had a big fall. 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine. That's just in my head now forever.
And that's not legal advice, by the way. Nate Dogg says, "Ask Rasheed."
That's too fast. That was too fast. We covered that. Yeah. I feel like there's a sweet spot of speeding that we should all be allowed to do.
Yep. No, I like it.
I think 10 miles an hour over is probably, I mean, you're a lawyer, Seth. You can turn off your camera if you want to for this. I feel like 10, I mean, this doesn't apply in like a school zone, obviously. This is all highway logic. But I feel like if you're on the highway, if you're not going 10 over, you certainly should not be in the left lane. We've been over, like, some of this is, I think, relatively obvious. Like, some of us are in a hustle and want to live dangerously.
Yeah, if you're on
our safety, with our ticket.
If you're on a 4-lane highway and you're not driving at least 8 miles an hour over, the only time you should be in the left lane is if you're passing someone who's 10 under or whatever, right?
Yeah,
then get out of the left lane. People are busy. Here's the legal advice part of it. Driving 1 mile an hour over the speed limit does give law enforcement reasonable, articulable suspicion to pull you over. And they can. And even if you're like, well, other people are going faster. Doesn't matter. Just so you know, other people are going faster than me is not a valid defense. And by saying that, you're tacitly admitting that you were speeding. So you know what you say? Do you know why I pulled you over? No, sir. Can I reach and get my license and insurance? I'm just going to grab that out of my box here. Here you go. Well, you were speeding. Did you know that? I was not aware of that. And I'm not sure if I was, but thank you for letting me know. Yeah.
Heavens.
I'm aghast.
For that reason, of course, I do not speed when I am trafficking drugs and guns. But if I don't, have anything more serious in the car, I'll floor it. Well, here's our segue, mercifully from the chat from D. Richardson. Pancakes for dinner, you're a winner. Limericks never lie. Well, you know what they say, Seth? Jaden Hicks, he's for hit sticks because he's a thumper. And you've got a film review on Jaden Hicks on the way in the Chief in the North newsletter. I haven't gotten to read it yet because it has not yet hit the front page. So I have to go in a little bit blind on this. But we've talked a lot about the safety position this last week, and there is a ton hinging on Jaden Hicks at this point. They let just a bit of backstory that everyone probably listening or watching this show knows already. But this is really out of character for the Chiefs to do what they're doing with Jaden Hicks right now. They fix, rejuvenate, reorient the entire defense by bringing in Tyrann Mathieu to be the brain at the back of the defense at the safety position. Mm-hmm. Tyrann Mathieu loses a step. They move on, or they think he's going to. They move on from Tyrann Mathieu, and they give a nice deal to Justin Reed, another 3-year deal, come in and do the same thing, plays out the deal. Very, very similar that way. But then this offseason, not only did they not retain Justin Reed at virtually the exact same deal they signed him to 3 years prior, they also did not bring in his equivalent. There was not a free agent safety who just got off a rookie contract or free of a second team like those previous guys. And it seems like the plan is to hand those reins to Jaden Hicks. So with that being the plan, is he ready for it?
That was a great setup. Thank you. One of the reasons why the Jaden Hicks film review isn't ready is because he played a lot more snaps than I thought he did last year. And that has led to it taking a lot longer to watch every snap because for whatever reason, when I started doing it, I was like, I got to watch every snap because I was thinking it's probably about 250, 300, give or take. Instead, it's like 450. Takes a while to watch those snaps. I've got an idea about him, and you could tell the Chiefs did too midway through the year, and I'll get to that in a second. So that's one reason it's taking a long time. So there's one thing to know is that Jaden Hicks played more than you think last year, unless you think he ended up playing 450 snaps. In which case,
nice, good guess.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, that was great. Here's the interesting thing with Hicks' snap count, and this is where I would assume Justin Reid probably started figuring the writing was somewhat on the wall. If you go through the Chiefs' defensive snap counts from weeks, let's say their first 5 games. I'm going to read you Jaden Hicks snap counts. I'm going to round up. Okay. So you've got 8%, 5%, 9%, 0%. And then you suddenly have this little spike in the middle. Okay. Middle of the season, starting with San Francisco, 11%, 15%, 16%, 27%, 16%, 19%. And then thereafter, starting with Vegas, 35%, 43%, 66%, 57%, 70%. We're ignoring week 17. That was 100% of the snaps, by the way. And then playoffs. Justin Reid led the Chiefs at safety in snap counts, right? I mean, we knew that. Played basically every snap. In the playoffs, in 2 of the 3 games, the second leading snap getter at safety, Jaden Hicks. More than Brian Cook, more than Shamari Connor. I find that interesting. Now, in the Super Bowl, he had 53% of the snaps, and so he was actually 4th. So I'm not sure what happened there. It was kind of interesting. Yet another thing that you look at and you're like, man, that was a weird game.
Yeah.
But in the divisional round and in the AFC Championship, both of which the defense did pretty well, he was the second leading snap getter, again, ahead of Cook. And so what you see in his rookie year progression was kind of like the Xavier Worthy progression in a lot of ways, except the difference was safety stayed healthy last year. So there wasn't like a, hey, dude, we need you to get on the field like now kind of thing like what happened with Worthy. It is a really interesting thing to see, and that's one reason why I'm comfortable with the idea that I think he's ready. Here's the other thing. I decided to just write down his role or alignment, however you want to view it. These are the ways he lined up. Box safety, linebacker, hybrid linebacker, cover 3 shell on the boundary, quarters, man on tight end, man on running back, robber, cover 2 deep other side, man slot, man zone, 2-man, as a blitzer, covering up the seam, whether you want to call that a linebacker or not, as a single high safety, as the third, as the center field in cover 3. I think we ran out of coverages to use.
Yeah.
I mean, Spags does things with like cover 6 and stuff, but basically all that is, one iteration of coverage on one side and the other side. So then he was just operating as a safety there. Did he play zone? Yeah. Did he play man? Yes. Was he? But what about all of Spags' disguises? Go back and watch one of his picks. I think the one against the Texans. Here's a fun Jaden Hicks fact. At one point during the season, he had an interception on 2 consecutive plays. And I didn't even realize it because he closed out the Browns with a pick. And then his first snap against the Texans.
That's funny.
He picked off Stroud. On that play, they rotated the safeties immediately before the snap. Now, he didn't do anything too special. He just kept the play in front of him, stayed where he's supposed to stay as a safety. That's what you do. And when the ball got overshot a little bit, which it was not a ball CJ Stroud should have thrown because I believe it was Josh Williams had really good coverage. And so he tried to, kind of laser it in over the top where only his receiver could get it, but he put it a little high. And that means that only the safety can get it. And it was like right into his hands. It was awesome. So this is before. So Nate Dogg asks, I want to be careful here. A young Kyle Hamilton, perhaps. No, Kyle Hamilton is an elite athlete. Jaden Hicks is not an elite athlete. At least he wasn't in college. But I'll circle back to that because he actually looks faster in the pros.
Especially not having watched the film and not having read your story, I will also provide several follow-up questions on Jaden Hicks as we go here.
Okay, good. So
I have a lot of legit questions.
One reason they were comfortable moving on from Justin Reid is that they don't have to ask, and this surprised me, okay? I did not know this because I hadn't reviewed this film. I'm about 375 snaps in. I'm almost done. I'm going to tell you guys, I don't know how much of the Super Bowl I'm going to watch, okay? The defense got put in an impossible situation. I'm standing by the idea the entire offense had the flu. No one's ever going to convince me otherwise, which I'm comfortable with that. So
more like, yeah, you know what the problem was then, Seth? You know what the
what was
problem
the
really
problem?
was at the game? You know why the Eagles got so much pressure?
How?
Joe Flooney.
Oh, that's my favorite type of thing. So they don't, when people are like, oh, the Chiefs are betting that Jaden Hicks, that was a great victorious sip after a great dad joke.
I think I'm going to have another.
Oh, I think you should. Oh, I bet that's delicious, but how will I know? Oh, now I know for sure.
I'm refreshed now. Now I'm refreshed.
Yep. So the Chiefs actually, I assumed they were making a bet that Jaden Hicks can do a lot of the things that Justin Reid was doing. Now, let me put it this way. They don't know if he can do it at the level Justin Reid did it, with the consistency that he did it, being the one to communicate the way Justin Reid did it. But they don't have to ask if he can line up all over the field. They don't really have to ask if he can play all the same assignments and roles that you saw Justin Reid play, because they asked him to do all of it. Now, it wasn't as consistent, and who knows, right? You don't know how things are. Anytime, we always tend to extrapolate, well, if you do this with 300 snaps, you'll do this with 600 snaps. It's not how it works in the NFL, unfortunately. They're not guessing nearly as much as I thought they were. I would be surprised, based on his rookie film, that I would be surprised if Hicks wasn't at least solid next year. Maybe not great, maybe not as good as Reid, probably not as good as Reid, but solid. Just a player who does a lot of things well, but he already did all the disguises. He already did a lot of communicating. He already played all these roles. So that would be the first thing there in terms of replacing. They're not guessing as much as I thought they were.
I mean, that's enormous and completely changes the idea of it being projection as opposed to it being the idea of just continuing, not just the next step of what you saw last year, but continuing to do what you put on film the year prior. Like that,
right?
That maybe that's the thing when they talk about him like not seeming like a rookie near the end of the season. It's because they didn't have to treat him like one. Like you already mentioned the mentals of it all and all the different ways that he lined up. I guess the top and bottom question in terms of what his ceiling is and what could go wrong. Because there is still, again, there is a risk to this, putting him in a larger role than he had last year, even though it's going to be pretty close to the role he had near the end of the year. Still slightly different, being the starter from week one and being not quite the signal caller because Nick Bolton's in front of him and Chris Jones is in front of him. And there's a lot of institutional knowledge in the defense still, but he's going to have a pretty big burden back there. What is his ceiling? Because you're like, the Kyle Hamilton thing's not the way to go. But what is his ceiling? And then what scares you, if anything? What would it look like if it does, in some way or another, air quotes here, go wrong with Jaden Hicks being your Justin Reid in 2025?
I think his ceiling, even though he's on paper, he's not as athletic as Justin Reid. Justin Reid tested a tick faster, a tick quicker. And when I say a tick, it makes it sound insignificant. But when you're a tick faster, a tick quicker, a tick more explosive, and all those things, that adds up. But I do think his ceiling is a Justin Reid level safety or better in terms of being pretty a guy.
It's a good football player.
That's a good football player. He was a solid football player last year. He the thing that was interesting to me, and this, I don't know. Maybe I need to rethink how I evaluate safeties when I'm watching them in college, because this happened to me with Juan Thornhill too. Hicks looked a little bit faster, not a ton, but a little bit faster, a little bit quicker with the Chiefs than he did in college. And part of me wonders, with the way college coaches tend to utilize safeties who are do-everything guys, and they overload them, not just with like all the safety stuff, but with like all the corner stuff, with all the everything, right? Because you kind of build your defense. If you've got a third round or higher safety guy in your college secondary, your defense is probably built around him by and large. And it seems like at times it gets them playing a tick slower. And I saw that with Juan Thornhill, like, because when I watched him in college, it's like, man, that speed doesn't really show up as much as I'd like. And then he got to the pros, like, oh yeah, he's an actual true single high safety because he's got terrific closing speed.
Is your theory there that's honing down, paring down some of the responsibilities, saying you don't have to be Superman, you don't have to play like Ed Reed back there, like you can just be Juan Thornhill?
So. Okay. I think so. I think it's just better coaching. And the Chiefs probably have the best secondary coach in the NFL.
Right.
Spags is, if not the best, one of the best 3 defensive coordinators in the NFL. And I think just that knowledge of what your job is, and I think at the NFL, they just really hit on that, the whole do your job, the Patriots way thing. Mm-hmm. That really is. I've had players, offensive linemen, on more than one occasion, when I asked him about something another guy did, he's like, I don't know what that guy was supposed to be doing. I know my job. Not centers. Centers always know. Right. But I've had other linemen be like, I don't know. Like, I just know my job. That's how these guys are able to do this. Mm-hmm. Most of them aren't the quarterback. They got to learn everything. So with Hicks, I think he's got a high ceiling. I think he could be a Justin Reed guy. The one thing similar to Justin Reed, only maybe even a little more so, I don't think he's got the top end deep speed that's a requisite to play single high with any sort of consistency. He's not your guy that you are going to be wanting to try to close out stuff on the boundary from center field. That just isn't his game. And he tests that way. He's a big safety. He's a strong safety. So I don't think he'll be quite as versatile as maybe you'd like in some ways. But that's one thing. The other thing, he needed to learn, especially early, and this improved throughout the year. He needed to learn NFL speed with some angles that he took a few times, with his control. He didn't arrive under control a few times, had a tackle or two missed because he didn't wrap. Now, that's one thing. Justin Reed always tackled. As a safety, your job isn't really to be a hitter. I mean, I know Cam Chancellor, who is one of the most terrifying defenders I've ever seen, like the shaded.
It makes you a fan favorite if you can, but it's not in the job description.
Yeah,
usually.
you do. You're supposed to be a big hitter, but more importantly, you're a tackler. If you can be both, great, awesome, even better. But you're a tackler first, because you are literally. There's a reason your position is named safety. Right. You are the last line of defense. So you got to be smart. You got to tackle well. His tackling, he's got to learn to wrap every time. The long speed isn't there to play single high consistently. And he looked fine in the few snaps that he played man coverage on tight ends. I don't think you're going to want to see that full time. But honestly, with most safeties, you don't want to see that full time. Right. The tight ends in today's NFL are just too good. But so that's what would distinguish him from like Kyle Hamilton, who can play center field, who can cover tight ends or even wide receivers. Same with like Derwin James. So I think that his athleticism having a ceiling, but I don't think it's as low a ceiling as I thought it was before watching his pro film, which is really great to see. And in terms of intelligence, he keeps everything in front of him. I've got some snaps that I'm going to play them in the article, and hopefully people appreciate them, even though nothing happens. But nothing happens because he follows the receiver perfectly up the seam. And then as the receiver's heading into the deep safety zone, he hits the brakes and moves back down to essentially rob the dig. And I'm like, yes, that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing right there. And you just took away 2 routes. But like nothing happens. So hopefully that's not super boring for people. But I love snaps like that. I remember it hung on for me. You complimented a snap I used to show Trent McDuffie once because he took away 3
so good.
Routes.
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so cool when that happens. But like the throw didn't come. And so just if you subscribe to the Chiefs North newsletter and you're like, why is he just showing guys running? That's why, because he's a smart guy. And for a rookie, generally didn't get his eyes drawn the wrong way. So it was nice. I'm more optimistic on Hicks than I was before the review because I didn't realize how often he was on the field.
It makes me feel good about it. I'm excited to read it in the Chiefs of the North newsletter, mnchiefsfan.substack.com, including those clips where nothing happens, where air quotes, nothing happens, where the only thing that does happen is 22 guys on the field desperately trying to do one very specific job at an impossibly high level. And even then, quote, nothing happens. That's right. Football is sick. It's just an absolutely disgusting sport that makes us sound like lunatics. But God, I do, in fact, tend to love it. You know what else I love? I love having Nate Taylor on the show. We'll take a timeout and we'll go back to a 3-man booth on the other side of the break.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Folks, it's playoff time, and if you're still just watching games, then you're missing out. With Pick 6 from DraftKings, you can turn your hoops knowledge into real cash. Just make your picks, track your score, and if you hit all 6, you're looking at bigger payouts than Prize Picks flex plays. Nobody's dropping better payouts than Pick 6. Hit 6 picks, and that's 25 times your cash. And if you beat your competition, you could be looking at a 500 times bag in your pocket. And right now, new customers can get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. The playoffs are on, so why not take a shot at making a little money while you're watching? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Better payouts, bigger wins, only on Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Here we go. He's back. I just assumed it was the tennis, Nate. I just assumed the tennis got you and we weren't going to see you today.
No.
You've got a newborn baby, and still I just assumed it was all about that beautiful red clay.
It's going wonderful. Because we're in semifinals day at Roland Garros, the play was done far earlier than, let's say, the first week when I was watching Gail Monfils do Gail Monfils things. Look, we all know what Gail
we
all know who that is. But we do know today, Seth, that Coco Gauff, as I hopefully predict correctly, is in the women's final and will hopefully be a 2-time Grand Slam champion next time we talk. So no, it's mostly about this, fellas. There was a moment, I believe it was a couple days ago. I think this actually happened on Sunday, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to reference a different sport here. I guess this guy named Scotty Scheffler, is he good at golf? I guess he's really good at golf.
Seems that.
But there's a clip that
I'm more of a tennis fan personally, but
thank you. Thank you. But there, Scotty Scheffler, this is more of a, this really popped off in the women's groups. But Scotty Scheffler on the 18th hole, I think he wins the tournament, whatever tournament they're at. It's a gorgeous day. His wife is like, "You played amazing. Your son loved watching you play." And then she hands him what appears to be, 8-month-old. He had a little accident. Boy pooped right out of his. We're talking blowout city, baby. This man just won $1 million, let's say, whatever, winning a golf tournament, and his wife handed him their child who had poop on his back. And that's what happened to me earlier today, ladies and gentlemen. So we've reached that stage in parenting where it's like, what just happened? Seth, I need more laundry detergent. More. So no, everything's going fine.
All you need is a wipe. You just wipe it off front and back, and fine.
What about for you though?
Yeah, I don't think it works like that.
I gotta say, this is the first time I've ever Googled the phrase Scotty Scheffler poop.
yeah. Man, that's gonna mess with your algorithm.
Yeah.
$4 million, by the way.
4 million? Oh my! I got it. Okay. Hey, Hayden got to get in the back with these golf clubs because what?
Seriously, man.
4
I'm looking into
million?
it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What a day! What a weekend! What a
I
weekend!
don't know if Scotty
18
Scheffler's the
holes.
role model you want Hayden to have, though. That guy keeps brushing up with the law.
His career really popped off when he
Yeah.
got arrested
Yeah.
for, I don't know, driving to work, sir.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you handle PR right, it can be great for your future. You know whose future's bright, Nate, is Jaden Hicks. We already talked about it. And frankly, I don't need you to tag in there. I need you to tell me if there's anything. I got a couple things. I'll float you a little balloon on the latest round of OTAs here. I will spoil like Scotty Scheffler's baby's onesie. I will spoil it right at the jump here. Nothing big's happening. None of this is important to you right now, okay?
Oh.
I'm going to be really generous. Some of yesterday's pressers were kind of interesting. I like hearing from the assistant coaches.
Yes.
Dave Merritt might be the
Amazing.
only man on earth who I want to hear talk about NIL anymore. He just feels like he might be the only sane man left who has like good opinions that have the nuances of all sides of the process.
Well, his son is literally going through it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right, like
Yeah,
he's got that side of it. He's coached guys. He has his own career, and then he has coached players on both sides of that. Now you're getting kind of that mixed NIL, non-NIL locker. That was interesting, but we're not going to talk about it here. Like Seth doesn't have takes about that. He didn't do an NIL film review. But there were a couple things here and there. The biggest things appeared to be that we saw Rashee Rice out there moving his knees and looking good. I mean,
looking real nice.
We're in non-contact territory, but you'd rather see him look nice than not so nice. And then Josh Simmons getting a little more involved. Those are the two things that like might matter. Nate, was there other stuff that matters? You got a little. You want to get that Rashee Rice hype train running?
Let's do that.
Okay,
Let's give the people what they wanted. I can't remember. This is maybe a week or two ago where I said, look, as far as I was told, and this is before we actually got video of him, on the practice field. But I was told, hey, everything is normal, which is again kind of amazing at this stage of the rehab and the recovery process, given the injury happened, I believe, in like late September. So it's a great sign. And I think the biggest news is that Rashee Rice is going to be a full go for training camp, which is ultimately what the team was, I think, fearing when the injury occurred last season. Like, oh man, will he have any offseason program, or will we just pray that he's even available for training camp? Well, now you don't have to worry about that. And now you get to see, once again, all three guys together in the offense, with all three of them having more knowledge than they had the year before, obviously including Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. When it comes to Josh Simmons, Seth, I think you said something really smart the last time we were here. Can you gain anything from the trench work with no pads, no game speed, no back-to-backs, at least in terms of padded practices? Can we learn anything from this?
No.
Thank you. Perfect. Perfectly well said.
Left me in suspense.
It's a great thing that he's at least out there when it comes to Joshua Simmons, but the real test, the real checkpoint will become training camp, in my opinion. Apparently out there with, some of the starters. Some of the starters.
Whoa.
Some of the starters.
Not all the starters were there, I believe.
Not all the starters, but just some of them. So,
was Jalen Moore there?
I didn't say that. I said some of the starters.
Was Jalen Moore not there? I thought Juwan Taylor was limited. I can't track all of this anymore.
It's really hard. They do a great job of really making this difficult, especially when you're not a skill position player. So I'm just saying, put them into the mix, let them get a feel for it. But obviously, wake me up when it's late July in training camp and we'll see how much of what is going on right now is actually important towards training camp.
Jalen Moore was there, no helmet. So I think it stands to reason that Josh Simmons was running with the ones.
Hey, I didn't. Whoa! We can't say that.
I didn't say it either. I didn't say it either. No, Nate, get down. Nate, get down. I don't know, so I can recklessly speculate. Nate knows too much, so
Did
Nate
he just say
can't
first
speculate.
team reps? Get out of here!
I didn't say. I don't know that. I'm thinking about it.
Video's
About
gonna
the
get-
idea of reps.
Okay.
It's either him or
Again-
Kingsley. So I mean,
Again, there's nothing more silly in this sport than, oh my God, they just released first team rep news on Chex Notes June 5th. We haven't even played an NBA Finals game, but if NFL teams find out you tweeted something of any significance, oh boy, take cover.
I would say the one thing you can tell if teams were to let you, which they won't,
Right, which we don't know.
Is where-
I don't know
is where-
formations.
is where
I don't know lineups.
where
I don't
someone
know,
lines
I don't know
up,
who the quarterback is.
what order they line up in. That's why it's like it's just tough. You could maybe occasionally see what groups they have working together sometimes, but that's only if everyone's there. The only other thing I will say with Simmons, him being there doing stuff is a heck of a lot better than him not being there doing stuff with
That's
Rice. It's showing you can prove the absence of a negative.
Ooh.
It shows that maybe he's not completely unhealthy.
That's how I describe myself often.
Man, I just found out Aldi has these unbelievable peanut butter chocolate bars, like, the fancier chocolate, where it's like, I wouldn't eat Reese's like an animal, or whatever, even though Reese's are incredible.
No, Seth, I need you to get to this story, not because I don't want to hear it, because I need to know about these peanut butter chocolates at Aldi that I don't think I've had.
I'll shoot you a text with the picture. They're unbelievable.
Shoot me with insulin.
And they're only like $2 because normally like the high-end candy bars like Tourney Chocolonely's, they're like $5 a piece.
Also so good. Great pull by you.
So good.
Yeah, those are really good. This one's peanut butter version and salted caramel version are better. They're about the same size. And at my Aldi, they're $2.50. I'm gonna weigh 400 pounds by the end of this summer. And I wish I could say I'm sorry.
Oh, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, Jazz might care.
I
But
don't know. Does she like chocolate and peanut butter?
Right.
I have so many forms of dark chocolate and or peanut butter in this house at all times. It's just like any grocery run includes some form of dark chocolate and some form of peanut butter chocolate in many instances. I don't think I've had these before. Trader Joe's, boy, it's about time this show got good. Trader Joe's has a little tub of peanut butter cups that you can buy. They're not individually wrapped, but they're in individual, like the cup wrappers,
Dark chocolate, ain't it?
I think it is. I think it's the dark chocolate peanut butter Trader Joe's peanut butter cups. Those are one of those things that I got to make sure I snap the lid on hard every time, because if I leave the lid off, they will just float out of there into my mouth, and then they will be gone by the day. Got to be careful with it.
Okay, I just saw Seth's text.
Whoa!
What?
Oh, Nate.
Look
Nate's,
at that.
Nate saw Seth sext, I think is what he said.
What? Yeah.
Wait, what? We've gotten this brand many times. It's very good chocolate. I didn't know they had a peanut butter version.
Look.
Yep.
Okay.
It's very good. $2.50. That's not right.
I was going to tell Renee later, but hey, Renee, I think you're probably watching. You see these? You see
They
these?
have-
This is the feature.
They have a toffee. They have a
toffee?
toffee flavor as well that Jazz absolutely loves. And when I went there, it looked like they were sold out. But then I used my big old brain and I realized, hey, they haven't faced this aisle yet. And I bet if I look in the big, yep, there's a bunch. So I bought her like 6 of them. Yeah. And like 2 days later, she texted me a voice text. She's like, you cannot ever do that again. You have to hide chocolate from me. It's all gone. It's gone, Seth. It's all gone. And
I need 6 time-locked safes that I can set up.
And so now I bought new ones, and I have candy bars, and she doesn't know where I'm keeping them. And that's just
very
what it takes.
exciting.
So look, I have to ask a question before we get right back to football, ladies and gentlemen. Who's the bigger cult, Trader Joe's or Costco?
Oh,
And I mean Colt with a capital C.
Yeah,
Because
I was
the
gonna say
reaction
Anthony
that Josh just had, ladies and gentlemen, tells me he is a member of these Colts.
Yeah, I'm in both of them. I'm in both of them now. Kent Swanson formerly indoctrinated me into the Kirkland cult of Costco. But Trader Joe's, I love what Trader Joe's does, where they just say, hey, we're gonna make this product and it's gonna be pretty much perfect, but we're not gonna have any other versions of it, right?
The
Like
same, yes.
you're just gonna get this specific thing.
Yeah.
I think to answer, as a member of both tribes, we get along. It's okay. Like there's plenty of overlap. But as a
Ma'am,
member of
You
both,
can
and
disagree without fighting.
Why do I have to
Exactly.
show you this on every aisle?
that's
Why?
so
Why?
only one
Why
of
do I
them's
have to
got a
show you my
card.
receipt?
Oh,
Why?
Only one of them has a membership card, and I think Costco's physically larger. So I'm gonna say that Costco is the larger cult, but our people here at Trader Joe's could be more annoying about it, I think, or at least louder. Like I feel like we're prouder, maybe. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Costco
They did
people
not
are
pay
proud.
for this because they've already branded me. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see what's happened to my life? Okay. I have to go there for gas.
This is an easy thing to do. Which one of them can you buy a pretty decent pizza that's the size of a manhole cover for $10? I mean, that's like
Steph, you could check out
You get
and then get a pizza.
that's true. Get pizza on your way in, and then Seth, you can get those 5-pack boxes of good frozen pizzas at
Yeah,
Costco
correct,
for a
correct.
very reasonable price. Tucker just said in the private chat, he said Trader Joe's is Costco for single people. I think Trader Joe's is Costco for single millennials, probably, or at least childless millennials.
or people who control their food intake, because like you'll get like that giant tub of peanut M&Ms and you're like, oh cool, now we'll have peanut M&Ms for the next month, and then 2 days later you're like, oh man,
Or
We need
they're
more M&Ms.
gone.
oh man, why haven't I eaten breakfast, lunch, or dinner the last 2 days? I'm
There's
just
protein
never
in that.
hungry. Oh.
So
it's it's like a trail mix without the nuts or raisins.
So here's another takeaway from OTAs, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we've got reports that every member of your Kansas City Chiefs defense is at the facility working out. That includes Chris Jones, that includes Trent McDuffie, it includes
Awesome.
the big three and Nick Bolton. And how much cohesiveness and chemistry and things we can just sort of experiment on, how much we can do that between now before we get into the advanced courses, that is training camp, especially with these rookies, because we got a number of them that we think or I should say that the Chiefs think can be pretty good contributors. I do think there's something there. Again, how big, how small, hard to say right now. You won't know that until months down the road, but I do think it's interesting that every member of the Chiefs defense, with Steve Spagnuolo, with Dave Merritt, with the rest of the group, obviously.
Joe Cullen talked today. You want to add that to your YouTube playlist for later? Worth your time.
Yep. Joe Cullen, obviously, I think the most serious member of the coaching staff, and I'm dead serious, is Brendan Daly. So it's a little bit disappointing when we don't hear Brendan Daly, but look, we got Joe Blameyer, who tried to his best Jedi mind trick people, which is fine. Because why are you at Super Bowl? Huh? What's that? Why are you asking me about the Super Bowl? Whoa. What Super Bowl are you speaking of? The one we won? Oh, yeah, that one.
Walking it off in overtime. What a feeling.
Yeah, right. Just
the last year's. This last February.
Completely blowing through the question. So I just think, yes, it's nice to see Rashee Rice run routes at a pretty nice manner that we can see in individual periods videotaped. As Seth said, nice for Joshua Simmons to at least be out there, considering that his rehab appears to be going smooth. And hey, your whole defense is there, and so all the leaders are together in support of the coaching staff. And again, how much chemistry can you build? How much of an understanding can everybody have before you play preseason games, before you have training camp? Those are the ones where I think we can take something from before you get to mandatory minicamp later this month.
Here's one other thing I just remembered that it was always strange the moment after the draft pick came in. And obviously, a coach saying a nice thing about a rookie does not mean that he's aced every single test put in front of him. But something weird happened right after the Chiefs took Josh Simmons. You get a couple of those reports. They're saying, most teams really weren't worried about the medicals. It was off the field stuff. It was undetermined, unnamed character. And it was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've heard that for 4 months leading up to the draft.
Correct.
But now here it is a moment after. I did think it was interesting. I think it was Nagy who said this and not Andy Heck later. We obviously heard from both of them. They both talked about Simmons some. But I think it was Nagy near the beginning where he just like unprompted talked about, and maybe he was prompted. You can get real conspiratorial here on like what you want to put out there. But but Nagy was very intentional about the process for Josh Simmons and the way that he's attacked every piece of that. And that he has been, I believe he used the word maybe twice, professional about it at every turn throughout what has to be a grueling process. The injury and the draft process alone had to be absolutely infuriating. And now he's here in the building and it seems like all is well. Again, a coach coming like, this is a stray, but it's not an unfair stray. Andy Reid told us how smart Kadarius Toney was many, many times, right? Like that just happened a lot. And Kadarius Toney I can do this one.
Just because he's smart doesn't mean he'll always make smart decisions.
And that's totally fine.
I think there's a difference. Yes.
I don't know Kadarius Toney, but I do know that he made a number of mistakes on and off the field underneath that umbrella of protection from Andy Reid and the coaching staff. Okay.
Yes.
Just using that. Look, I'm closer to buying into a Kadarius Toney resurgence than I am a lot of other resurgences at this point. I will never fully be able to quit him, but I remember what Andy Reid said at press conferences. So I'm all that to say, I'm not the guy to get totally set the hook and yank me out of the water because you said something nice about a rookie and a presser. But I did think it was interesting that Nagy kind of just like included that in one of his overarching takeaways of how Simmons has joined the team to use the word professional about a guy who got what felt to me again like a weird late, like, who does this help kind of report as soon as the pick came in. I'm sorry to all the Kadarius Toney fans out there, mostly just myself.
And Kadarius Toney, I imagine.
I think I might care more about his football career than he does, man. I don't know.
Well, you've certainly done less to hurt it.
That is accurate. That is undeniably accurate. I've been here ready to charge from the front line.
And I criticize because I care, by the way. If I criticize I care.
Right. Have we gotten to this point, Josh, where you take over his career in the virtual world of Madden and Kadarius Toney is an all-pro based on talent without having to make any decisions. You're making the decisions for him.
Such a good freaking idea.
Young Joka?
That's his rap name.
Yeah.
This was in the group chat this week, Seth. You knew this. This came up.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There's a trend of former Chiefs receivers hitting the microphone.
I don't think we have to dance around this. Let's promote. McCole Hardman has a track coming out. And
is
he just a feature? Was that the
well?
Are you just whoa?
Let me go back and listen to it again. Because it definitely, based on the algorithm, Instagram was like, you gotta see this.
I did think it was interesting that he named it in honor of Kadarius Toney's career.
Who is the guy that did like the music
Seth
video?
is obliterating a really excellent joke of mine.
Oh no, what'd you say?
I said I thought it was really interesting that McCole Hardman named the song in honor of Kadarius Toney's career.
Oh,
the song is called No Effort. And I don't think that's fair. That's not fair to Kadarius Toney. Unlike my previous fair commentary.
I will let you know.
Darren Waller, by the way, Seth. Yeah. Darren Waller was out there sad post-divorce or whatever. It's much better than that. McCole Hardman has nothing to fear there.
Yeah. I shouldn't laugh at people's sadness. It is. I think we as a society need to be able to laugh at ourselves. I laugh at me all the time because I do a lot of laughable things. Thank you, Nate. But like, man, I'm going to give everyone advice here. When you go through something tough, a tough breakup especially,
make a song.
Correct.
Just stay out of social media for a little bit. You don't need to post how you're feeling in
Wait,
that
MVS,
moment.
did MVS have a rap career too? The chat is saying, and MVS. I was not familiar.
I am not. Yeah, I'm not aware of MVS having taken to the microphone.
I'm just
I think
saying
they're
that
saying-
he won the Super Bowl with MVS and 2 rappers as his wide
okay.
receivers.
Okay,
Good.
Thank
Yeah,
you, voice of God.
That's the
And
clarification.
a professional TikToker.
Tucker D. Franklin.
That's true,
For
man.
for D stands for voiceover of authority.
Man, I really hope Rice is healthy this year. Worthy continues this trajectory, and Brown finds like a role, which all of those things are perfectly plausible. I
yeah.
hope all three happen because I think that's going to stop Mahomes. Like he's gotten more and more
Retiring at
comfortable.
34.
Yeah, he's gotten more and more comfortable. Like last year, can you picture 2019 Patrick Mahomes walking out the field yelling, "It's the same bleeping move every time. It's the same bleeping move." No way.
No, that guy was more patient.
And the 2023, they were able to win the Super Bowl. That washed away a lot, but you could see him throughout the year getting frustrated. Last year, some of that same stuff at times. I'm just saying, some of this stuff needs to work out. Otherwise, it's going to be like, just if I could think of an example of two really rich, powerful people within an organization feuding, I would use it, but I can't think of one. So
You know what, Seth? I
it would just be
can.
bad.
I can actually, Seth, and we're going to jump right into it. We're going to take it head on, that exact
Let's do
story
it.
you're talking about right now.
Other people are afraid. We're not.
The Missouri Senate has approved stadium bills in effort to keep the Chiefs and Royals in the state. I'll read right now from KMBC.com. They had a nice write-up there, folks at Channel 9. The Missouri Senate passed legislation overnight incentivizing the Chiefs and Royals to stay in the state. Lawmakers, this was at 2:30 in the morning, by the way.
Yep.
Parenthetically.
Yep.
Lawmakers convened in a special session Monday to sort out several, rolling into Tuesday, sorry, they met Monday and then did this rolling into Thursday. Lawmakers convened in a special session Monday to sort out several unresolved legislative matters with the tax incentives package for the stadiums at the top of the mind for many. Senate Bill 3 was introduced and included several elements previously outlined by Governor Mike Cahill. The bill includes the Show Me Sports Investment Act, which would allow professional sports teams to access state funding for stadium development through a new bonding mechanism with certain qualifications. The bill was approved 19-13 and needed 18 votes to pass. Now it moves to the Missouri House.
Whose arm was twisted the most?
Who was vote 18 and 19
Right at 2 a.m.
at 2:30 in the
Oh,
morning.
people
morning.
got promised some pork, man. It's like,
No
oh, you want
kidding.
that bridge in your county? Oh, that
Oh?
bridge that you promised would get
Or-
built 20 years ago when you ran for the first time. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to draw us off
No, no,
football.
no.
All I'm going to say is this isn't the way government should work. You guys please
It's
talk
not.
about
It's
football
not.
stuff.
But hey, don't you want that casino on the river?
I disagree,
really
Seth.
do.
I think
Come
that
on.
32
Come on.
people
Who-
should be able to decide for the state at 2:30 in the morning.
Who I gotta snuff out
like
for the people down in Ozark?
If this happened
nice
in Game of
casino.
Thrones, we'd be like, this seems kind of weird. They
On
did
a
it at
lake.
2:30 in the morning
On
in a big
lake.
room.
Hey, they said, hey, what if we did something that was very Ozark related for the Ozarks?
Yeah. But what I see this Missouri seems to someone somewhere got people in a room and said, guys, Kansas is coming for the Chiefs and maybe the Royals, but whatever. But they're coming for the Chiefs and we have to do something.
Something, yes, right.
And so that's what that's what they're looking for. I apologize to our Kansas and Missouri watchers, voyeurs, and listeners, peepers, whatever, who feel really strongly about like a state border war rivalry type thing. I acknowledge I only lived in Missouri for about 3.5 years. I don't have strong feelings one way or the other. I don't care as long as they stay in Kansas
All
City.
right, Seth, not about that life. Let's move on.
No, I'm with it. I am here, and I'm in a very similar place. I was born and raised in Kansas, and now I live and own a home very happily in Missouri, and I want mom and dad to stop fighting.
And I was born in Kansas, and I grew up in Missouri, and I moved back to Kansas.
See, we truly are like, we are covering, honestly, the role we're missing here is that none of us are bloodthirsty one side or the other. I know those people exist. I know those people are in the chat. Like, I understand. I'm not,
Correct.
I don't care about these specifics of which side of the state line. I care about the stadiums and how those stadiums get funded and what the stadiums look like and all of that.
Yes.
I also understand that you might care. We aren't going to be the group to get really bent up about Kansas
Right.
or Missouri's got to do this. I would love
Correct.
it if political legislatures would function like they were intended to.
Well-
But I'd also love a pony and $1 million.
Right, and I would like the streets to not have potholes in them. But
Sure.
look, here's the big takeaway today based on that decision at 2:30.
Maybe healthcare.
The Chiefs have won.
Yeah.
They've already won, guys.
Which
That's-
was always going to
Correct. that
Look,
was going to
and-
happen. They have
and-
checkmated both states, and now you could look. Now there's really a pros and cons list that you could put on a piece of paper for the. Let's just say for the Chiefs specifically, because I still think Missouri has an easier path to retain the Royals right now than they have it. Then they have an easier path to retain the Chiefs. So again, I think Missouri had to do something because they don't want to lose both teams, and that became quite clear a couple months ago because the Royals have been frustrated with Missouri legislation for about the past 6 months. So the easiest path is they retain the Royals, the state of Missouri, and then there's a real fisticuffs on both states to win the Chiefs. But ultimately for the Chiefs, they have maximized their leverage to get Missouri to do something that Missouri didn't want to do in a diplomatic process that was not diplomatic because they twisted the governor's arm and the governor had to twist everybody else's arm, and then the governor had to bring everybody else back to work when I was supposed to be on vacation representing God knows Cape Girardeau, I guess. I don't know. And the governor twisted enough arms, and then I guess somebody in the room where it happens last night was like, you will die if you vote no. So the Chiefs have won. They could still go to Kansas. They could still build a dome, but at least they know how much money they could actually extract from the state of Missouri without a vote. Now, Missouri would still want a vote, but do you want to keep the Chiefs? Then maybe we don't do a vote. That's what we learned last night. And
if you, the unwashed masses, really want what you want, we're probably not going to let you vote on it. Which, by the way,
also in the
Correct.
state of Missouri, by the way,
Yeah,
if you
I'm not-
vote on things that you do want and you get them, we may say you actually can't have those.
Correct.
Which is another thing that already happened. Unrelated
To be
sports.
clear, I'm not making an argument for pure democracy over representative democracy. I'm not, because that's a much deeper conversation. And I personally don't want to live in a world where, like, if 51% of people agree with this, like, yeah, that's what's going to happen, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know about that. Have you met people? Because they're not great.
Is that the best?
Have you met
our
politicians?
Time? Is that
yeah,
the best
I
use
know,
of our
no.
time, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh no, don't make me do the whole like nothing matters and abandon all hope you enter.
Yeah, I
We're
know,
all
but yeah,
doomed.
Jesus Christ, 2028. I get it.
So think about this.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yes.
He wasn't born here, Seth. He can't.
Well, he was
Always a loop. I
he was
don't
on that
know. I've
other
seen
side.
a lot of pictures of him, and he looks like he was born in America.
I've seen a lot of pictures of him draped in the American flag. This is true.
that
He
is very
doesn't
true.
love this perfect country.
So this is the last thing I'll say about the stadium stuff.
I got Seth to
Missouri-
take off his glasses. That's a win.
Missouri has to have worked overtime. Think about it, guys. They've had to work overtime to basically guarantee that they will give the Chiefs more than they originally wanted to 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. And guess what? Kansas still may have the better deal.
Yep.
So to me,
I just want the
You know what I
coolest
mean?
stadium. I just want the coolest
Right.
stadium possible in the Kansas City
some people
area.
will say that stadium is Arrowhead, Seth.
and then
It could be,
fine,
for sure.
spend $2 billion renovating Arrowhead. I
have
don't care. Like, I just want, and again, when it comes to sports, I'm willing to be selfish when it comes to sports because it's a flipping hobby, man. It's a hobby. Yes, I want sports to please me because it's my hobby. If it weren't fun, I wouldn't do it. Can't you see all the fun I'm having right now? It's like me on vacation with my kids. And so, like, to me, I just want the coolest stadium. I want the best parking lot for all the tailgating. I want all of that. And wherever they can do it best, that's where I want it.
Seth, did you get pretty excited when you saw that very well done story on the Zombie SI Chiefs website that said they were considering moving to Minnesota? I mean, that would have been
Minnesota.
much closer to you.
That would be much closer to me. I mean, what could
That's
possibly...
for the record, everybody. That's obviously not real, which everybody except for whoever wrote and edited that article would know.
Hey, they
Yeah,
got Missouri
the
and
person
Minnesota
who
mixed
did
up.
that.
Who
Unfortunately,
among
I do
us
think it was
hasn't?
people.
Who hasn't gotten those two states mixed up before?
Well,
Yeah, well, when you're not anywhere near Kansas City, that's an easy mistake to make, I suppose. But that's a story for another day. In the meantime, we'll be back on Tuesday. Enjoy the weekend, and I don't know. I was gonna say something about like the weather because I just need to not continue that line of thought. You got a comment?
Levi Massey. I'm so sorry, Josh.
No, please. I don't have anything else. I'm done.
Levi Massey. This is a great comment.
Yes, it is.
That move would technically make Nate and Josh the Chiefs in the South. And that's, you know,
That means I'd have to move my family to Minnesota.
Oh, Nate, we got 7 acres here, buddy. You could build. You know what? We've already got a little clearing back here. It would
Seth,
just be beautiful.
Seth, I'll do it, but I'm gonna need 6 of those acres and $2 billion.
Seems like a fair deal to me.
He's making a good point there.